do you agree that Washington Post, Daily Beast, all those guys have treated Bernie Sanders differently than the other candidates, or you think, no, it's all even?
I do not think it's all even. I definitely think they've treated him differently. I think the extent to which you have treated their coverage of them is almost as flagrant.
Okay.
So
I should point out, to be fair, that when I did the story on the Washington Post headlines between Sunday and Monday, I did say they had two neutral headlines, and one is arguably not neutral, but I did point out they had two neutral headlines and 16 negative ones in a span of 16 hours. And I can read them to you again if you like.
I know, I saw that
I have
tweet.
the poll.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is from 2 weeks ago. It was by the Docking Institute at Fort Hays State University that had Clinton at 33% with Sanders at 23%.
Right, okay, I saw that poll too. So
Yeah, now 44% undecided is a pretty undecided poll.
It's a dramatically almost, that's the same poll that I had here. He wasn't listed, he must have been to the right. The way I'd seen it.
He is
So,
technically on the right side.
He is, yeah, I mean, that's a poll that is almost useless, but as a predictive nature. But yes, I mean, if you're asking me, would it have been a normal reaction for a person to go, wow, Bernie Sanders won Kansas by a lot? Yeah, I did. So I thought, wow, that's surprising.
Yeah, I didn't. Again, I might have missed it. I haven't read every article in the world, but I didn't see a single article by anyone talking about, wow, look at the 35-point win in Kansas, look at the 30-point win in Maine, look at these wins that were much larger than we expected. Yeah. Not one.
I would also point, okay, and I just got it, but like, you're right. Those things probably didn't happen because I didn't, and to me, all of those states are almost irrelevant because there are caucuses, and I would like there to be no more caucuses ever. Ever for the rest of time.
But can I also say, I'm sorry, Nana, I know I'm interrupting, but the one caucus where it counted was Nevada, the one she won. And I get why it counted, because we expected him to do a little bit better at the end there, and she won by 5 points. I shared that surprise. I said, wow, you got to give her credit, and that's not a good sign for Bernie Sanders. And all of the media said, oh my gosh, you won Nevada, the firewall worked.
Do you know what? I don't hear, since we'll keep talking about Nate Silver, what Nate Silver said about 538, because in the same thing that John read, that was the only state where he outperformed what he should have done. That was the one state where in that analysis that Nevada was better was a better sign for him than either New Hampshire or Iowa.
But you know that the rest of their projections.
You know that the rest of the media said Nevada was important and all the other caucuses were not.
Well, because they'd each won. She hadn't won yet because Iowa was a tie and New Hampshire he'd won. Mm-hmm. And the thought was, if he beats her in Nevada, because he's the upstart, that he had a chance to really knock her down because we knew what was coming on Super Tuesday, and he didn't do it. So yeah, that turned into a big story.
But I agree that was a big story. I don't agree that every other win he's had is not a big story. It's not interesting. I mean, it's just, it's maddening.
I mean, but not, well, okay, so what's left out, of course, this is what I was getting at. So that I did think it was a fairly big story. I mean, again, the way I read it, I was like, wow, he won a lot of small states. Those were big. They're wins. They count. He picked up 3 delegates. He won 3 out of 4 states, and he netted 3 delegates.
Yeah, it's very fair to say that her win in Louisiana was so sizable that she netted out a lot of delegates there. Obviously,
she beat him by those 4 out of those 4 primaries. He won 3 delegates.
So, by the way,
more than her.
More than she did.
Even after the main vote, I saw someone reporting that she won 11 more delegates. No, that was true before Maine. After Maine, he won 3 more delegates
because he netted. I think he had a 14 or something. It doesn't matter. It ended up being he won by 3 delegates. But what you leave out of that in your coverage of that is that the first sign of trouble for Hillary, first of all, whether it was email scandals in mid to the entirety of 2015, then unquestionably after Iowa and again after New Hampshire, was a rash of stories again and again and again. Hillary's in trouble. Hillary's in trouble. Hillary, it's not presumptive. She's going to lose. No matter, while you're looking
No one says she's going to lose.
Everyone said she was going to lose. It's so primitive the way you look at it because it didn't fit your narrative.
Wait.
Not that she would lose, but that it was feeling like
New
2008.
Hampshire or the general election?
The general election.
I mean, the overall election.
The overall election, that she was in trouble, that she's not the presumptive nominee, that somebody's going to have to come in.
I heard trouble. I saw a presumptive nominee. In fact, in Nevada, one of the reasons I got excited because Ralston, who's very respected,
nobody said
that she was running out of town in Nevada. I covered that story. Turned out he was a little wrong about that, at least. But I didn't see a single article saying she was going to lose.
But you don't like her, so you don't look at that. Eric Boehlert on Twitter for most of 2015 merely trolled effectively, in the positive way, to rebut media stories of the demise of Hillary Clinton. That story was the leading story, almost the most important political story of 2015, the inevitable doom of Hillary Clinton. The campaign is off the rails. She had this big lead. She doesn't no longer. You make a face, but it didn't fit your narrative, so you didn't look at it.
No, the reason I'm making the face, I have to clarify the face, is that it is amazing what the difference in our perception. No matter who's right or who's wrong, or if we're both right and wrong.
I think you're both wrong.
I think it is amazing.
It was in between. It was in between. They were saying that she was in trouble, that it might be a repeat of 2008, that all of a sudden Bernie's getting all this youth support. I did not see tons and tons of articles saying she's gonna lose.
Well, no,
but John, that's not in the middle. That's exactly what I'm saying.
I'm getting dragged into Cenk's language. No one wrote she's going to lose because no one writes that, and no one writes Bernie's going to lose.
I thought that's what you just said.
No, I know. I got dragged into Cenk's rhetorical flourishes, which aren't usually, yeah, no, but I mean, that's not.
I hear you. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, so I mean, no, the stories were Hillary Clinton's in trouble. Hillary Clinton's campaign is going off the rails.
There were stories about how she was
There were negative stories about Hillary.
But if that's all you're saying, then we agree. Yes, there were stories about how she's in trouble. We agree on
and there were but what I'm saying is that's a reflection of headlines that did not fit a narrative that was supported by the data, which said, hey, she's still way ahead. She's still way ahead. She's still way ahead.